You saw an anti-science culture fomented in the U.S. government. We have a whole population that's been dehumanized and disgraced, if you will. He said that Secretary Kennedy should be fired or resign. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement.
We have one of the more infuriating stories, truly, that I've ever covered in RFK Jr.'s recent comments about those who are on the spectrum. As someone who's worked in the ASD community for 8 years, I currently work in schools with children on the spectrum. I absolutely can't let this fly. So I have a CNN panel debating this, his comments, and we're gonna go through this to debunk the lies. First, though, take a moment if you can, leave us a like. It helps us out tremendously, and let's get right into it.
Dr. Georges Benjamin came out. He's the executive director of the American Public Health Association, and he said that Secretary Kennedy should be fired or resign. I wholeheartedly agree with that statement. Day after day, we hear another travesty that's happening to public health. We hear about funding cuts of critical programs. We have a whole population that's been dehumanized and disgraced, if you will. And quite frankly, public health is sick of it. And increasingly in our circles, we're talking about pushing back, asserting. Already during the pandemic, we saw an assassination, if you will, of the integrity of public health science. You saw an anti-science culture fomented in the U.S. government. And it's like we've fallen off of a cliff, and where will it end?
Autism isn't preventable because, well, it's not a disease. It's a sensory processing disorder. That's literally it. They process thoughts and sense feelings and emotions differently than us. The idea that everyone would do this the same anyway is insane. It only even has a label because there's a way that our society has deemed common. But like red hair also isn't common. It doesn't make it a disease. RFK claimed those with autism will never work, pay taxes, fall in love, write a poem, play baseball, that they can't use the toilet on their own. Verbatim, by the way, not quoting him out of context. And this is one of the grossest and most dehumanizing statements I've ever heard for people who are literally humans, where in more cases than not can just live normal everyday lives. Like the amount of people who have autism and just don't know because they've never been diagnosed but are just living everyday lives is astounding. And there's people like that who get diagnosed in their like 50s or like this is a normal thing. And him saying this proves he knows literally nothing, right? I've helped my clients on the spectrum get jobs, plan dates. I've had clients on the spectrum in classes where they're getting almost perfect grades. Also, I've worked with literally hundreds of clients on the spectrum at this point, and I've legitimately, and I'm using like the far end, maybe not even this much, I've legitimately had 15 to 20 tops that were full bathroom assists, like less than 10%. I don't think RFK Jr. has even met an autistic person at this point.
He's been on the job for 90 days, a little less than 90 days. So I think that we should just give him the benefit of the doubt, don't you?
No.
Can I ask you? Hold on, one at a time. Hold on. Guys, 1 second, okay? Let me just let him express what he's going to express, and you can rebut it.
The Health and Human Services, you're going to be here saying the same thing. It just seems like everything President Trump does, you're going to oppose, no matter what. And
it
look,
seems like everything he does, you're going to support blindly
no,
and
not at all.
foolishly.
I'm saying,
what
I'm saying is let's give this man
This is the challenge. He built this cabinet off of loyalty, not off of expertise. He is politically inept, and his first job in government was as president of the United States. And you see how dangerous that is to have a reality TV star elevated to this post and play with our health in the process.
To clarify here, Republicans said we can't trust qualified professionals in Biden's cabinet because they were DEI hires, despite them having degrees, years of experience in their respective fields. However, RFK, with no expertise in the field, no degree, who is spewing anti-scientific nonsense, like going against all literature on the matter, who was offered the position as a quid pro quo for his endorsement to garner votes by Trump. We have to trust him? Like he's already fully disqualified himself. RFK also in that speech tried to say that the heightening diagnoses, the fact that we see more diagnoses now, it's 1 in 34, where in the 60s or whatever, it was 1 in 10,000. The proof that it's not because we've just gotten better at recognizing it is because we aren't seeing it in old people. First off, when the number for autism diagnoses were 1 in 10,000, autism was diagnosed as a rare form of schizophrenia. It wasn't even its own thing. So that number is completely mute. There's also like there's not an actual survey or study that you could point to that has ever said 1 in 10,000. I literally don't even know where that's coming from. But also, the reason it's seen less in adults is because it's literally next to impossible to get an evaluation as an adult. And adults also commonly get misdiagnosed with other things, especially females. Adult females commonly get diagnosed as like OCD or ADHD when instead they are autism. Also, a lot of adults who could just not be aware their behaviors are related to autism will never get the diagnosis. If you're told like, oh, you don't like eye contact, or you have pattern recognition, or you hoard these, baby dolls that you keep in order in your room and you know the name for you do that because you're weird, not because you're autistic. And that's what you've thought for 60 years. You're literally never going to think to go get a diagnosis. And that is a thing that again happens every day because these are people who are literally practically regular people, not incapable of life or anything as RFK Jr. wants to paint them as.
We have a qualified doctor here, a qualified medical profession who works in the medical profession telling you this is a problem, and yet still you are spitting in our face trying to convince us it is rain. You have to at least, can you please be sensible and say this is a problem for the American people? It's not a political issue, Abel. This is a matter of our health.
One at a time, please.
You can't say give someone a benefit of the doubt when we already have proof in Texas that 2 children are dead from a measles outbreak that should not have happened, because you have a secretary who has consistently and systematically undermined the science around vaccines. How can we give him a benefit of the doubt when he spent decades being a charlatan when it has come to science and public health issues? Here is a person during his nomination process who espoused medical racism. He said that Black and African American people had different immune systems. Excuse me, sir, there's no room for a benefit of the doubt. As she was just saying, we have gutted programs at both the CDC and the FDA around smoking. Do you know the leading preventable cause of death in the United States? Tobacco. And you gut the very opposite.
On the benefit. He's not going anywhere. He's there.
This is the problem with MAGA, especially now that they're in power. It's that they view simply speaking out against or in opposition of what Trump is saying is political. It inherently makes it political. Even when he's doing something anti-science and then scientists are like, no, that's not right. When he's doing something against all economic theory and then economists are like, no, that's right. It just makes those economists, those doctors, those professionals, woke, liberals, leftists, whatever, right? This lady is also Black who said that, so they'd also probably throw DEI in there. And for MAGA, that's literally all that matters, right? They don't care that that's the woman with the degree, the experience, the qualifications, the know-how, because RFK Jr. is straight, white, and agrees with Trump. And that's literally all the MAGA needs. Even when we're talking about medical stuff, which is insane. It's literally scary that these people are now attacking something so close to my heart, all while they threaten to pull research funding from colleges who disagree with them, like Harvard are currently pulling funding from public medical research and medical research facilities. They're defunding ABA therapy for autism in different states. My home state is doing this, all while promoting a conspiracy theorist to the head of Human and Health Services who thinks autism is a disease, thinks something is causing it, thinks it can be prevented, and thinks that they'll never live lives if they have autism. Trump should fire him, right? Or he should resign immediately for those comments. Nothing else is enough.